Wait.
So you get $1,000. What are you going to do with it and why?
Oh my gosh, what did I just do? I accidentally just said, I did not mean to do that.
I will delete it. That's
Thank you.
fine. So I'm going to give you guys a minute to get that information in.
Wait,
Let
I
me
don't
know.
want people to see my responses.
We're going to share, though. It's just like you raising your hand in class and saying it.
I don't do that. I
Makes
usually
me
just
nervous.
sit there.
I'm curious, though. How would you spend or budget $1,000? Oh, I'm seeing some 50, 30, 20s like those. Everyone's 50, 30, 20 so far. 80% towards spending. Interesting.
I didn't know we were using percents.
You can do either one, okay? 20% towards saving and nothing else, okay? Because they don't have many expenses, okay? Makes sense? All of it will be gone in 3 minutes. Put me on eBay and I'm done. Thank you, Dalton.
Yeah, it was good. It was a lot.
What would you buy on eBay?
I don't know. Put me on eBay. We'll find out.
What do you normally buy on eBay?
I know I've never been on eBay.
Facebook Marketplace.
Facebook.
Go buy me a $5 beer.
Did you
Save-
for me?
Save most of it, 30% in savings and spend the rest. Half or 75% to saving and spending, the rest to needs and wants. A lot of 50, 30, 20 still. 400 on spending, 600 on savings. Okay, maybe, okay, because you need a new phone, save the rest for college. A lot of 50, 30, 20s. So y'all remember the 50, 30, 20 rule. Great job, I'm proud of you.
Mine's 58-year-old, 57, 37.
Wait, there's lots of different rules.
I thought it was optional. We had to put that?
No, you don't have to put that. We're just being honest at this point, okay? 600 needs, 400 to wants. If it was me, I would probably put about 100, maybe 200 to wants and save everything else if I could.
Wow.
That's it, because I know I got bills to pay, and I know randomly bills will pop up, so I like to put money away to save for that.
But
Like,
I'll
listen,
figure it out.
this money is money that you never have if you wouldn't want. Okay.
Okay, but hear me out. I just had to put new tires on my car, 4 new tires.
That's normal.
I just had to
That's life.
buy a new guard for under my car that was like $100. I'm just now putting in a new radio to my car because one died. Okay, I got random expenses.
Hell.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's keep going. Okay, so we're about to look at an article about 4 different types of expenses and how to plan for and cut some from your budget. You think, it's all just money out of my pocket. I'll know how to save it. I'll know where to spend it. I'll be smart with it. But when you are in your second year of college and you're begging your mom, please help me pay for my $300 car note because I didn't budget for it, okay, it looks a little different. You start thinking about money in a slightly different way. That's what happened to me when I was in college. So we're trying to set you guys up for better financial futures than I had. Whenever you don't have parents to learn from it, it's really hard. So my parents weren't good with money, so I had to learn on my own. So, come on. Okay, know your expenses. Let's see what it says. If you were to fill out a monthly budget today, chances are it's organized by area of life. You'll see housing or transportation, food, so on. And these categories represent what most people's finances look like, and it's different for different people, which is one of the reasons a lot of people just wing it. They say, I'm just going to put money where I feel like I need money, right? I think I need to spend money on housing, so I'll budget this much for housing. They pull it out of nowhere. But let's look at some specific categories. Number 1, fixed and recurring expenses. What does it mean if an expense is fixed? Correct, it doesn't change. It's going to be the same every single time. And recurring means what? Repeating. It happens every month. So, my sewage bill is $25 every month because I'm on city water, okay? So I have to pay for sewage. I know every month it's going to be due on like the 10th or the 15th. And I know every month it's going to be $25. So it is fixed and recurring. Next would be day-to-day expenses. So every time you pull out your debit card to pay for something, that is a day-to-day expense. So groceries, gas, if you go out to eat at a restaurant, if you're buying a gift for somebody, if you're buying pet food or toiletries or laundry detergent or makeup or coffee, that's a day-to-day expense. They change, and normally that's the last area you want to budget for, or next to last. Then there's also non-recurring or random expenses. So like the fact that I had to buy 4 new tires for my car kind of fits in that category. You know what's going to happen eventually, but you don't know exactly when you'll have to buy new tires. You don't know exactly when your car battery is going to go out and you have to replace it. Let's see. It says most common expenses for this category are things that you most stress, or cause you the most stress because you're never quite prepared for them. A lot of the time they go on a credit card, okay? Or if you have savings, you'll pull it from the savings to pay for it. So car repairs, travel, gifts, things like that. If you have a bill that you pay once per year, it doesn't happen monthly. So it can be one of these whammies, one of these unexpected expenses. Or if you pay your car insurance once every 6 months instead of every month. That's one that my husband does for his car insurance. And so that one's gotta remember it's gonna be this many $1,000s at the end of a 6-month period. And most of us don't spend the same amount of money on clothes each month, but you might go buy new clothes when you get hired for a new job. Or if it's about to be the beginning of the school year, or if it's about to be spring break, something where you think, oh, I need clothes for this. And that can be a big expense. So you wanna make sure that you plan based on what your lifestyle needs. For example, if you get coffee on your way to work some or most days, this is a day-to-day expense. However, if you instead load a Starbucks card once a month instead of schedule, it's now a fixed and recurring expense. If you say every month I'm giving myself $50, it's different than going and spending $5 a day randomly, $7 a day. But Starbucks is expensive nowadays. Haircuts. Who gets a haircut once every month or two? Who gets a haircut whenever they feel like it randomly? Because that's me. That's what I do. I haven't had a haircut in 3 months. And before that, I hadn't had a haircut in like a year. Okay? So it may be a non-recurring expense, a random one, if you're not on a schedule. But if you go every 6 weeks to get your hair cut and colored, you know that's coming up and it's going to be about the same every time. And so on and so forth. So let's go back to our Nearpod. And have we entered our answers?
Oh, let me do that.
Yes, look at your screen, enter your answers. Define each of the following expenses. Fixed, recurring, non-recurring, and a whammy. Okay,
I turned it in.
you turned it in?
Yeah, I submitted it.
Great job.
Can I quit now?
Nope. I'll give y'all a second to finish that up.
What?
Oh, sorry, did it switch forward on y'all's? I'll go back, hold on. I'm sorry, I've never used this before.
If I gotta do this again.
I was thinking it saves it. If you've already submitted it, you should be fine, but.
Where do you see the answers?
Well, we went over the answers, so now you're just filling in what you remember.
Well, how do you know that we put the right thing down?
I'll look at it later.
You're gonna like mine.
I'm a little worried.
You're gonna have to scroll down.
Oh dear.
Oh. I didn't take notes.
Oh, I did.
I'm gonna see. No, I can't see it. I like this interactive thing. This means y'all get to participate instead of putting your head down.
I can still do that.
You can still do that. Thanks.
Oh, yes, that too.
Okay, are we ready to move on?
No.
Oh my goodness. I'm not asking for a novel. Just give me a quick definition and how you budget for each one. Just a couple words.
You'll figure it out.
So if tomorrow we're talking about housing budget, what type of expense would that be?
All of it.
It would be a reoccurring normally if you're paying rent or if you're paying a mortgage, right? And is it going to change everyone? No. Generally speaking, it stays the same. Have we got it? Almost. Okay, anyone else still need time? Okay, hurry up.
Almost done.
Y'all find it easier to type on your phones or on your Chromebooks?
None of it.
Yeah, don't rather do stuff on paper.
Would rather
Hold it
not.
up in paper.
I'd rather not.
I think that's the thing, is you'd rather not do it at all. Submitted. Are we doing it right here?
I'm a patient.
Yeah.
You're a what? I didn't.
Okay, I'm waiting for that one more.
I suck at video games.
Awesome, we got it. Let's keep going. Okay, hold on, 1 second. Okay,
It's broke. Oh, there.
we're gonna categorize each of these expenses. Okay, you're just gonna circle. Is it a fixed, recurring, non-recurring, or a whammy? Okay, I'm pretty sure you just circle it.
You got 2 of them.
Oh,
I think some of these are.
Oh shoot. Oh shoot.
You can't zoom in. Wait, can you turn it sideways?
You can't really read this.
Oh, I can't circle. I can't zoom in.
You can't circle. Can you just run like a highlight through it?
Yes, I can. I'll
Okay,
put it
just
in
highlight
pink.
that. We're learning. We're learning using new technology. Why did you scribble all over?
I'm doing it.
Can you undo the scribble so I can see it?
Well, then I'll get rid of my answer.
I'm sure you can figure it.
What is it? Yeah. I don't know.
It's not.
Wait, what's Brian supposed
I like this. This will make it easier for me to
here
get
though?
daily grades in.
This is so
Please
difficult.
don't make this one.
You're not,
Don't make
it's
it a normal
reoccurring
thing.
for 12 years.
Is anyone missing a lag screw?
Yeah, I'll take it.
A tin
That
screw?
might be my answer.
I'll take it.
No, this is like one that you drive into like
It's called a self-tapper.
exactly
There you
into
go.
like tin. We had to go buy these this summer. It took forever to find them at the store.
Wait, what's a
Restaurant is not.
But someone put.
Unless you're going on a schedule to a specific restaurant, it's gonna be non-recurring.
Whammy?
Well, who got the cat?
Hey, what job on emergency? Non-recurring. Your Netflix subscription.
I got it.
Fixed. You get everyone is all the same now.
Okay, I'm gonna see what our rates are.
We could have just did both.
Oh, that's
I
just.
feel like they're like the same thing.
Actually, I just put non-recurring.
Yeah.
So normally a whammy, is it a small expense or a big expense? It's a big one. Okay, so things like new tires, new car battery. Not going out to eat at a restaurant, generally speaking.
Why?
If you go out and spend $1,000 at a restaurant, it's a little different. That's a bit of a whammy.
What the hell is that?
I tried really
Who's putting cat?
I think it's just their
Chips
names.
on it.
Wow.
Who is this?
You can put chips on
But you can still see their answers.
I went unsubmit.
Slay.
Okay, finish up.
Thanks.
Let's see. Everybody submitted? Ryan, you setting up? finish up?
Get her.
I did.
Get this submitted.
Oh.
Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so when you're budgeting, there are a lot of different methods to follow. A lot, okay? Lots of people make big money selling other people plans on here's how you should budget, here's how you should spend your money. This is gonna make you rich, this is gonna get you out of debt, okay? So,
Sounds like a bunch of lies.
sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not wise. You have to be able to kind of weed out what's important and what's not. And you have to decide what works for you. Because what works for you might not work for me, might not work for Ella, might not work for Yesenia, might work for Roy. Who knows? So here's an article real quick.
Were those the only people's names that you knew?
No.
Oh, okay.
Ah,
Briefly,
those are just the ones I have to say most often, I feel like.
What?
I don't have to say your name often, however, like, you're always like the first person to turn your paper in.
Do
That
you
sounds
remember
Vanessa.
everybody's name?
What?
Do you remember everybody's name?
Not everyone.
It's almost the end of the school
So my point was made.
Don't be rude, okay? Please.
You can't teach.
Please, I'm doing my best, okay?
Okay.
So,
Get better.
popular budgeting strategies. We already talked about the 50, 30, 20, or 50, 20, 30. Okay, 50% goes to your needs, 20% goes to savings, 30% goes to your wants. And sometimes those last two are switched around. Okay? Another is called the pay yourself first method, which means the first bill you pay every month is into your savings account. So you make sure that you're saving no matter what. You set a specific amount, and immediately when you get your paycheck, you send that amount to your savings account. And after you pay yourself, you pay your bills, and then use the rest however you want. Okay? And it can be used in combinations with some of the other budget options. This one's a throwback. We talked about it a little while back, a zero-based budget. This is where you write out all of your expenses, you write out how much money you're making, and you allocate for every one of your expenses and where all of that money is going until you get to zero at the end. Okay? You leave no money unaccounted for. Everything has a specific purpose. If you've ever heard of Dave Ramsey, or if your parents have talked about Dave Ramsey, he's real big on the next one. It's called an envelope budget. Okay? Which means you go get cash every month and you put specific amount of cash into physical envelopes, although you can do it with like a spreadsheet digitally if you want. And each one represents a different part of your budget. So this is the envelope for gas. This is the envelope for bills. This is the envelope for groceries, etc. And once you run out of the funds in an envelope, you can't spend any more from that budget category. So if you run out of money in the groceries envelope, well, guess what? You can't buy groceries next week. You better have budgeted well enough to have all the groceries you need. And then at the end of the month, if you have money left over, you can transfer those funds into savings or keep them in the same envelope for the next month.
I wonder why.
So now I'm waiting for
No.
answers.
No? You look uncomfortable.
I mean, I guess it could be.
The second one I put, knowing in the future I want to have money.
I don't worry about it.
So
Worry about
it would help knowing that you wouldn't spend all your money at once, having spending money
There we go.
and everything is perfect. And then the envelope.
What are you eating?
Peanut M&Ms?
Eating.
I'm sorry I've offended you.
He's never known.
Excuse me? She baking. So no.
Those are the best ones.
I was craving chocolate yesterday, so we went to the grocery store and I picked up the biggest bag they sold as a kid.
Everything has specific. Always.
I know what it's.
Specific what? Everything has a specific use.
No?
Like you take your little paycheck and you divide it out into like everything goes to
I didn't offer it. I would.
I mean, envelopes
Yeah.
say they can't because the money was used.
Envelopes for every expense you have, take money out of other expenses for different.
Look at it this way and see what the question is.
That crumbs and it just says no answer. I thought you just typed in no answer.
Honestly.
No.
What happened on the first one? What was the first one? The pictures.
Oh, you put the amount that you want in savings first, and then what's left goes to.
I was waiting for you to
So I may not do the interactive Nearpod every time, but probably
This
like
stresses
once
me
a week
out.
or so. That way I can get a grade from it.
No, it's hard. The only good thing about them is I'm like, yeah, and you, yeah.
Okay, so we're still rating on Roy, Yesenia, Dalton, Kember.
50%
Crimson.
goes to needs, 30% goes to wants, and 20% goes to savings. And if you want, you can swap the last two, so you got 30 for savings and 20 for wants. That's what you want.
Do you play Heyday?
No,
No.
I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's a cell phone game.
Yep, it's a farming game.
That's fair.
Pretty fun.
Currently, the only farming game that I play is the farming game on Temu, where you can like earn coupons and free stuff, which is problematic. I realize. But I want free stuff. I mean,
You should start playing Heyday.
Me and James played it all the time in sixth grade, and we just stopped playing.
Well, yeah, me and McKinley were both and then I stopped. And now I'm back into a big
Oh, Crimson's on her full. I don't know if I have one name on my phone.
That is
her
full name.
Oh, you're in
I don't, I
Then
don't.
it just starts over. to-
I got Granny on my
Yeah, and then
phone.
you just rapidly
I ended
lose
up
it.
That's it.
She is.
Honestly, I was thinking about the
I'm glad I made it.
Yes.
That's good.
She said, I'm so good at it. She said,
Maybe I
Should we not go through?
No.
Okay, now we're good. Let's keep going. Okay, so let's look at a video on zero-based budgeting.
Do I hit one? Okay.
Hit the one on the bottom.
What the? I'm not super worried about the questions on this one. I want you to pay attention to the video though.
I died.
If you need a strict budget or live paycheck to paycheck,
Okay, quiet, pay
zero-based
attention.
budget is a great tool. The goal is to end up with $0 at the end of the month. Weird, right? But every penny will go towards something productive. Start by looking at your monthly take-home pay. Then calculate exactly how much you have in recurring monthly expenses: rent, utilities, student loan bills, and so on. Then look at other areas you often spend money, like eating out, going to the movies. To make it easy, let's say you take home $2,500 a month. You add up all your expenses and spending for the month, and that number equals $2,400. Great, you have $100 left over, so you're golden, right? Wrong. Take that extra $100 and add it to your budget for something like paying off debt or increasing your savings. Just remember, your budget should end up at zero every month. Each month your spending could change, but with zero-based budgeting, you know where everything is going. And that puts you one step closer to being debt-free.
Okay, so does a zero-based budget mean that you don't get to spend money on fun things? No, not at all. You still get to spend money on those things. You just have to budget for them. Okay? like I said, don't worry about this question on this one. No! It logged me out, you guys. Ah, now we're back. Now we're back. Okay. So let's just talk through this example. It says Deshaun sets up his zero-based budget and has $175 left after he assigns all of his expenses to each category. What would be a good category for him to put that money in? Or should he put that extra money? Savings?
Paying off debt.
Paying off debt? Any other ideas? Generally, those two are where you want to put it. Okay, now let's look at envelope budgeting. Okay, this strategy had a resurgence in popularity due to social media, also something also known as cash stuffing. Have you seen the TikTok videos of the ladies? They've got their little binder with all the little envelopes in it, and they unzip it, and they're like, well, this month I'm putting in $50 to my fund to go to Hawaii, and they flip to the next one, and they go on, they keep putting money into the little envelopes in a binder.
Yes.
That's literally the most basic version of envelope budgeting. So, let's look at it. Because it also is an ancient, not necessarily ancient, but an old time.
I'm Yaneli, also known as Miss Be Helpful, with another FinTech Friday brought to you by NGPF. Back in the Great Depression, unemployment reached 25% in the United States, and banks failed and shut down, which wiped out a lot of people's savings. Those difficult times lasted more than a decade, which means that frugality and tight budgeting became second nature to Americans of that generation. In the 30s, Americans didn't have credit cards or digital payments. Instead, they paid with cash, and many used the cash envelope budgeting system. Ironically, this trend spread like wildfire on TikTok and YouTube recently, with hundreds of millions of views and hashtags like hashtag cash stuffing, which are putting a new school twist on an old school budgeting method. So what is cash stuffing and how does it work? Well, you can start by thinking about the types of expenses that you have and sort them into categories. So for example, you could have going out, or you can put movies to make it more specific if that's something that you do a lot. Other categories might be food, snacks, shopping, gifts, graduation money, gas money. You label each envelope, one for each category, and then fill it with the amount of cash that you budgeted for that expense. Whenever you pay for something, you should use money from that specific category's envelope, because if you take from a different category's envelope, you'll lower the amount of money that you have for other expenses. This requires you to be thoughtful and disciplined with your money. Finally, you refill these envelopes when you get your next paycheck. A lot of Gen Zers are already working jobs and experiencing for themselves what it's like to have money one day and then it's all gone the next day because you spent it all without really keeping track in an effective way. TikTokers told CBS News this method is great for teenagers because it helps you visualize the different buckets you would have inside of a savings account. Now, some people don't like the cash budgeting envelope method, and they say it's tricky because if you lose the envelopes or they get destroyed or stolen, then all those dollars disappear. But most people still agree that this is a great budgeting method for beginners who are learning about money and learning about their personal financial preferences one envelope at a time. Now, there's even digital cash stuffing apps where you have the same concept, but you divvy up the money digitally instead of using actual cash. Now, only time will tell if cash stuffing is a trend that's going to stick around, but many people are wondering, will it help Gen Z be more responsible when it comes to spending? I'm Yaneli, also known as
So for me personally, I've done cash envelope budgeting before. It worked for me when I was in high school and college, and I was getting paid mostly in cash for, like, I was a princess for hire, and they would pay me in cash for kids' birthday parties. Or when my husband and I ran the lemonade stand, popcorn stand, I would get paid out of the cash from the register, right? So when I had cash, it worked great for me. As soon as it goes digital, it doesn't work for my brain because I'm like, those envelopes aren't real. Or I might have the problem of, part of it's in my bank account and part of it's in cash. Or I was really bad about I'd say, oh, I'll just take some from this envelope and borrow it for the other because I ran out. I was very responsible with that. Do you think the envelope method would work for you?
No,
No. Any particular reason?
No. Well, I just get it out of the envelope.
Really?
Yeah, it takes a lot of discipline to use the envelope method, that's for sure. Okay, so we're gonna do some exit ticket questions. So it's 3 questions, multiple choice, I believe. Get them done, and then we'll be done for the day.
I'm finished.
And I will be taking them for a grade.